Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to replace the rear wheel bearing on your 2011 Honda CR-V. This is a front wheel drive model and we'll be using Mevotech parts today. We've been using Mevotech parts lately. They have some really nice parts. Check them out, mevotech.com. But yeah, here's the bearing. You can see that it's a closed build for the front wheel drive models, like I say, in the rear bearing. But if it's an all-wheel drive, then it's a different bearing because the axle has to pass through it. Now you'll notice that there's actually a magnet that's integrated into the back of the bearing, and that is for your wheel speed sensor signal. The sensor sits up beside it. We're actually going to be changing out the sensor as well while we're in here. This car has actually got an ABS light on, so we're just slapping a bearing in it. Okay, first thing you're going to want to do, obviously get the car jacked up in a safe manner. And we're just going to take this rear wheel off. They should be 19mm wheel nuts, so go ahead and take all those off to get the wheel off. First thing we got to do, guys, is remove the brake caliper, anchor, and pads. Now you can take off just all the pieces individually if you want, but I'm going to take this off as an assembly. The caliper bolts are 12mm, and then the anchor bolts are 17. So if we just take the 17mm out, we should be able to just slide this whole thing off as an assembly. Just like so. And we'll kind of just set that there for now. We might need to hang it up to get it out of the road later. Now we need to remove the brake rotor. And you'll see that we've got some M8 by 1.25 thread pitch bolts, or bolt holes that we can run bolts into to help push the rotor off of the hub if it's stuck. But I'm gonna just try using a hammer because I'm sure most of you guys at home just have a hammer. We're gonna just hammer around on the disc to hopefully shock it to get the disc off of the hub. Okay, grab yourself a number 2 Phillips. Now I'm using an impact driver, and it's basically you put a bit on there, and when you hammer the end of it, it drives into the screw and turns at the same time to minimize stripping out the screw. But for most of you at home, number 2 Phillips screwdriver, or sorry, a number 3. It's a number 3. Should work pretty good. Take these out. There's 2 of them. At least they should be there. They might be missing. A lot of times guys change brakes and don't put them back on. Okay, so right now I can tell that the parking brakes are getting caught up. So inside here we have parking brake shoes, and then there's a rubber plug right here that gives us access to the adjuster to back the shoes off. So I'm actually gonna just try to do that right now. Sometimes you get lucky and it'll just come right off and you don't have to mess with the parking brake shoes. But I'll show you in case you have to do this as well. So just pull this plug out, grab yourself some needle nose pliers. So just pull that out. And then what you're gonna do is just use a light. And you're gonna look inside of here and basically just move this around until you find the star adjuster. It's a little wheel with teeth on it. And it's almost at the 6 o'clock position, but a little closer to 7 o'clock. So then what you're gonna do is use a flathead screwdriver that fits through the hole, and you're gonna move that star. It'll go one way or the other. You should be able to back that off to get the shoes to come off, and that'll buy you enough room to get this off. Now, if you go the wrong way and tighten them, you'll know the star adjuster will get tight and you won't be able to turn the rotor back and forth. And in that case, you just turn the wheel the other way. Okay, we have 4 17mm bolts that are located on the back of the knuckle. And you should just be able to loosen all of those off one at a time. and then the wheel bearing should just come right out. Now, a lot of times the wheel bearing is going to be completely rusted in there and you're probably going to have to smash it with a hammer. We got really lucky in that it just fell right out, which 9 times out of 10 in the Rust Belt, that just doesn't happen. But yeah, we got this thing out now. So now we can just basically clean up the surface, our prep surface. And we're also going to change out the sensor as well at this time, which looks like it's just secured by a 10mm bolt. All right, so we've got our wiring harness right here for the sensor. Now, it's clipped into the body, so I'm going to grab a trim tool and just pry this off, and then we'll be able to uncouple it. This side is the body harness that stays, and there's a little latch with a button that you need to depress. Now, these get filled up with dirt a lot, and it makes them difficult to unlatch. So if you want, which might help you, you just take some warm soapy water, spray it at that connector, and wash all that dirt and salt and stuff out of there and clean it up nice. Maybe use a toothbrush. It's really going to help you get that connector off. Okay, so that's unplugged now. We just simply have to go around to all the other mounting locations and do the same thing. You just pry underneath of it and should be able to uncouple it from the body. And now we need to remove this bolt so that we can slide this thing out of the knuckle. If your bolt is really rusty like that, you're going to want to make sure that you get the socket on there the best you can to make sure it doesn't strip out. Once you get that out, the sensor's supposed to just slide right out, but it's very common that these things get really stuck in there. So what we might need to do is just get a flathead screwdriver or something and clean up all around. Then we're going to use some pliers to try to get on here and pivot it to loosen it to get it out. Seeing as we're replacing this, I'm not too concerned about breaking it off. Worst case scenario, we're going to have to drill it. Let me get some pliers on there and see if we can get this thing to turn.
It's only turning up here.
Okay, so it must be broken in the center somewhere. I'm gonna get some bigger pliers to get a better grip on that, and we're just gonna keep working it back and forth until it comes out. Okay, so that's all that we got out. And you can take a look in there. That's the remains completely corroded in that aluminum knuckle. Very common in the Rust Belt. So now what we're gonna do is just take a drill bit and we're just gonna drill that thing out until we got most of the plastic out, and then we'll have to just clean and recondition the hole for the new sensor. Okay, so I'm getting a bit that's a little bit undersized for the size of our sensor. You can just compare with your new sensor. And then we're just gonna go to town and drill most of this out. Okay, now we're going to step it up to a bigger drill bit size. you can see there we're almost there. I'm going to go up another size and see if we can't finish that off with one last pass. Okay, 3/8 drill bit is the magic number. Now we have to clean all this stuff out of here. We want this completely clean before we go ahead and put everything back together. There's an O-ring. New O-ring. All right, now we're just going to clean this face up here where the sensor sits against. All right, we're gonna hit this with compressed air. You might wanna wear a mask if you're doing that. Not only is there brake dust and stuff like that, but that aluminum dust is not good for the memory. So, okay, now that we've got that pretty much cleaned out, I'm gonna use a little bit of oil to just prep this surface. And that's just gonna help keep the corrosion down. And just wipe this out, make sure that it's nice and clean before we go to put the bearing back in. But now let's get that sensor installed. Simply just slide the new sensor in and we will hand start that 10mm bolt. Okay, simply just take the wiring harness and route it where it used to sit. So these all just plug in to the chassis. This goes here, that goes there. And then this one plugs into the body harness. And you'll want to make sure that it does clip into place. So just give it a little tug, make sure everything's cool. Once that's connected, you can then attach it to the body of the vehicle. And that concludes the installation of the sensor. So let's get ready to put the bearing in. All right, so we've got our new bearing here. There's the O-ring. This Mevotech bearing comes installed with that O-ring in there, and that seals this whole section here. That's why it looks brand new inside of there. You could put a little bit of lube or something on that face if you want, or just put it in dry like I'm going to. Then we're just gonna carefully line this up, set it into the hole, and hand start all of the bolts. Once you get them somewhat started, then we'll be able to run them down with the impact gun. Okay, so we're just gonna run these down, but we don't wanna tighten them because we're gonna hand torque these. Okay, now we're gonna get the torque wrench out. And we're going to torque these to 72.3 foot-pounds. That's what the service manual states for the front wheel drive rear wheel bearings. And we're going to do this in sort of a crisscross pattern. And I always like to do 2 passes just to really ensure that everything's seated properly. Everything's torqued down. Okay, now we can move on to reassembling the brakes. All right, now we're ready to put the disc back on. Now it's a good idea to clean this face of the rotor right here. That's just going to seat up against the new hub, seeing as we got a new clean surface on here. You want also a clean surface on the disc. So simply line up your set screw tapered holes with the threaded holes that are in the bearing. And then we just simply slide this on. That should sit on there and not fight you going on. Then what we need to do is install our set screws, and then we can set our parking brake. Now you just want these snug. Don't over tighten them. With the wheel on, they can't fall off. Okay, now we're going to take our flathead screwdriver and we're going to go in and try to set these up. I forget which direction I had to go. I think I'm going the wrong way. I'll tell you which way is tighten and loosen here in just a second. Okay, so with the star wheel on the inside of here, if you go this way, that's tightening. And if you go this way, that's loosening. Now, it may be different on the other side, or it might be mirror image and it might be the same. Anyways, so we've set the shoe depth to go completely against the disc, so the disc is stuck. Now we need to back that off. So let's get in there. And you want it backed off enough. So you see how it's dragging? We don't want that. We want to go back off just a little bit more. Basically, the name of the game here is to have the shoes as close to the disc without running into the disc as possible, so that there's a small gap, and when you go to apply the parking brake, the shoes are right there and there isn't a whole bunch of slop in the handle or the foot pedal. So I'm happy with this. Then once you get that set, what you're going to do is just go ahead and put this plug back in. And now we can put our brake caliper assembly back on. We're going to hand start these, and just like the wheel bearing bolts, we'll run them down, but we're going to hand torque these to 80 foot-pounds. And you might just want to check them twice just to be sure. Okay, now we're ready to install the wheel. We're almost finished. All right, you just simply put that on there, hand start all the wheel nuts. You're going to want to tighten them down in a 5-star pattern. Do 2 passes of that, and then you're going to want to hand torque them. Now, I tighten these down to 100 foot-pounds. And the manual says 80, but yeah, after about 60 miles or 100 kilometers of driving, you should always do a wheel retorque just to ensure that everything's tight after you drive it. Sometimes the wheel nuts and the wheel can settle and the wheel nuts might loosen off a little bit, so really good idea to retorque them. But that's pretty much it on how to remove and replace the rear wheel bearing on your front wheel drive 2011 Honda CR-V. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll try to answer them the best that I can. If you want parts, go to mevotech.com and check out their big selection of parts for your vehicle.